It's the end of the world as we know it, and I feel fine. Let's get out of here. Aye. Looking to support this ministry? Donation links are always in the description box below. Hey everybody, it's Aaron from God a Minute. Yeah, we're looking for the rapture. We don't know when it is, but we're speculating, we're studying, and we're learning so much from His Word as we study and learn. I love the typology that we see in the Feast of Weeks, and I haven't talked too much about Psalm 77, so we're going to look at that just a little bit, and we're going to make 4 connections. And so this will be a little bit of a review, and some of it will be new stuff for some people, and we won't get too complicated. We'll just kind of meet somewhere in the middle. So before I get into that, I'll show you this. We've got something that I've called, or myself and a few others have noticed, that there's prophecy in the Psalms. Carl Lally has been talking about this too. But what we have here is these Psalms, Psalm 124 through Psalm 132, could be associated with the years of the Gentiles, so 2024, 2025, and so on. And then the age of Israel, Psalm 76, 78. So we're particularly going to be looking at Psalm 77 and Psalm 125, 2025, and 77 when Israel's age 77. What we're thinking here is when Israel became a nation in 1948, 77, they'll be 77 in 2025. So really, let me just get a big, nice black pen and circle these suckers, because that's kind of where my mind's landed now into that time frame. And so that's it's just very right around the corner. It's just a few weeks, really, 2 months from this recording. And so let's look at some of these things. So there's a connecting thing here in the chart there. Before I go there too, that we talked about this before. This is the Gentile idea, 2025 to 2032. 2032, out of the Psalms of Ascent, it has the most Hebrew words. It's got 131 words, so it's the biggest psalm. It's like talking so heavily about the second coming. Psalm 125 it's got 49 Hebrew words in Psalm 125. It's got 50 Hebrew words in Psalm 126. Wouldn't you know it? What's the day count for Feast of Weeks? It's a 49 day count. How about that? A 49 day count, and then on the 50th day it's the Feast of Weeks. Well, if we're associating Psalm 125 with 2025, bada bing, bada boom. That's a fun one. And Psalm 67 with if you don't include the that little introduction that you see in the Psalms, where there's 49 words in Psalm 67, which they read on the Feast of Weeks. It's another 49 word thing, and there's pictures that it looks like a menorah, like a seven branch menorah. But a lot of things. This is what you want to see. You'd want to see this on Psalm 125 if it in fact is prophetic. But let's go to the main theme of this video. Putting that aside now. In 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, it's, in my opinion, undoubtedly a picture of the rapture. And I'll read it to you. And I'll zoom in, or maybe I'll just physically bring it closer. That's what I'll do. For the Lord himself will descend from heaven with a shout, with the voice of an archangel, and the trumpet of God. And the dead in Christ will rise first. Then we who are alive and remain shall be caught up together with him in the clouds to meet the Lord in the air, and thus we shall always be with the Lord. Therefore, comfort one another with these words. So the thing that I want to focus on is the voice and the trumpet of God. The trumpet of God. This is not a man blowing a trumpet. This is the trumpet of God, and he's calling us up to meet him in the air. So that's 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, the trumpet of God. It's the voice of God. Well, where else do we see the voice of God or the thunder of God? Well, Psalm 77, related to the year that could be in 2025, since Israel became a nation. And I can get that picture out there if you're not familiar with that. Let me just do a pause there before I go and read that reference in Psalm 77. We have this. I did a video on this a while ago. We calculated that Jacob probably was 84 years old when he married Leah and Rachel, and that means he started to work for Rachel at age 77, and that means he would have had his vision when he was 77. And I believe that the vision that he had just before the chapter where he meets Leah and Rachel is probably a picture of the rapture. And that would be Jacob's ladder. And so that, I think, we could correlate it to 2025. Also, somebody left a comment. This just came to my mind right now. That's in John 1:51. We see a picture of the Jacob's ladder. I'm going rogue here. I wasn't planning on doing this, but it just came to my memory. John 1:51 is the words of Christ, and it says, "And he said to him, most assuredly, I say to you, hereafter you shall see heaven open and the angels of God ascending and descending upon the Son of Man." I believe that he's referring to Jacob's ladder, and he is saying that he is the ladder. But then the next thing is Jesus' first miracle, where he turns water into wine at a wedding. And so he's tying that to Jacob's ladder, which I think is the rapture. So we have a picture of the rapture, and then we have a wedding right after it, immediately after it. I think that's cool. So thank you. I forget if that was in the comment section or somebody messaged me in Discord. That was a good one. But anyway, Psalm 77, going back to the theme of this video, now that you know that I'm thinking that Psalm 77 could relate to 2025, and the theme is the voice of the trumpet. Well, what do we see here at the end of Psalm 77? It says that the waters saw you, O God, and the waters are people, according to Revelation 17. The waters saw you, they were afraid. The depths also trembled. The clouds poured out water. The sky sent out a sound. Your arrows also flashed about. The voice of your thunder was in the whirlwind. The voice of your thunder was in the whirlwind. That Hebrew word is H6963 kol. Okay, so H6963 kol. The voice of your thunder was in the whirlwind. The lightnings lit up the world. The earth trembled and shook. But like I said in 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, it's the voice of the Lord, right? It's the trumpet of God. But then in Psalm 77, we have a reference to the voice of your thunder. And that Hebrew word, to get more specific, I'll just look it up on my computer, and I'll just read you what Strong says. It says it's the call aloud, the voice or a sound aloud, the bleating, the crackling, the cry, fame, lightness, lowing, noise, hold, peace, proclaim, the proclamation, the sound, the thundering, the voice, yelling, the call. That's a strong word. When the voice of the trumpet of God sounds, it's going to be a significant day. When the voice of the thunder of God sounds, it's going to be a big day. And when do we see this again? We see this in Exodus 19. That same word kol is used in Exodus 19 as well as Exodus 20. But this is when God interacted with them in the third month. Now we're in the month of the Feast of Weeks. And what happens on the Feast of Weeks? The Lord thunders. Right here, 16. Then it came to pass in the third day in the morning that there were thunders and lightnings and a thick cloud on a mountain, and the sound, the kol, the H6963 blast, and it goes on to talk about it, and it's really the voice of the Lord. And when the blast of the trumpet sounded, that's really the trumpet of God, long and became louder and louder, Moses spoke, and God answered him by voice, by kol, by his own kol. So we have a rapture in 1 Thessalonians chapter 4. We have the voice of God both in Exodus 19, or the voice of the trumpet, and Psalm 77. This is pretty much the theme of the rapture. This might be pointing to the year of the rapture, and this might be pointing to the day of the rapture. The general season, maybe the year, maybe the day. Okay, but what about Revelation 4, verse 1? What does that say? What does it say? Let's go take a look. And after these things I looked, and behold, a door standing open in heaven. And there the voice, sorry, I'm trying to read through my phone here, which I heard was like a trumpet speaking with me, saying, "Come up here, and I will show you things which must take place after this." A voice like a trumpet saying, "Come up here, come up here, come up here." So the voice like a trumpet saying, "Come up here. I got to show you some stuff." The voice of a trumpet telling us, "Come up here. Come be with me." The voice of the Father's thunder in Psalm 77 before the big review of Psalm 78. Exodus 19. the voice of God talking to Moses during the Feast of Weeks. The general rapture, maybe the year of the rapture, maybe the day of the rapture, maybe the day of the rapture. And look what it says in Psalm 78 that I just noticed too. It says, there's a big review here in Psalm 78, and because they did not believe in God and did not trust in his salvation, that word is, it looks like Yeshua, H3444. If you don't trust in Yeshua, you're not going to be saved. You're going to be brought through this tribulation, if you're even alive to talk about it. So that's the general theme here. I could talk way more, but I'll leave it there. Again, we get the trumpet of God, which could represent the general. Well, it does, in my opinion, represent the rapture. This could represent the year, the voice of the thunder of God. This could represent the day, the voice of the thunder of God. Revelation 4, John, come up here. A type and shadow, really, of us. And it's for those who trust in the Lord. It's for those who put their confidence in Jesus Christ and no one else being saved. And let me just read you one more verse too, which kind of relates to all this too. Do you trust in the Lord? Do you put your full confidence in the Lord? Because he's coming for those who trust in him, who put their full confidence in him, who have a relationship with him, who believe in the finished work of the cross. Those who trust in the Lord are like Mount Zion, which cannot be moved, but abides forever. Psalm 125, 2025. The rapture is for those who trust in the Lord. Do you trust in the Lord? Are you washed in the blood of the Lamb? I hope so. All right. Hope to see you in the clouds very soon. One day closer. Go, Jesus, go.